Well, hey there, how you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, and of course another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. It is 6 p.m. Pacific. We are on Facebook Live, so here we go. Just a reminder that this and all the Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. Please stop by. Please subscribe. And, if you want to go back and listen to something, watch something that you missed or you want to see again, hey, they're right there for you. Also, interested in private voiceover lessons, davefennoy.com. Click on the Study VO tab and you can book yourself and get you going. All right. Now, wasn't here this last week because I had to jump on a plane for Montgomery, Alabama, and the very first Urban Nerd Con. And it was a good time. It wasn't as well attended as it might have been, but it was the first one. And in one of the most iconic cities for civil rights, there's the Legacy Museum there. And believe me, I wanted to take pictures. I went to the museum. It's about, you should be there about 3 or 4 hours to get through it. I only had about an hour and a half. And it was moving, disturbing, and all the things you think you know about the history of slavery and racism in this country. There were just detail after detail after detail after detail. That said, still love my country. Still think the majority of us want to be the right people and doing the right thing. But we need to stay on this path to getting better. Well, let's say hello to some people. Terry Briscoe, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. I always can do this when I don't have a guest. Oh, my buddy Jim Frank, what's going on, man? You're looking good. Love that smile. And, of course, you've got a great hat on. Tina Smith, how are you? The food in Alabama looks good. And I'm going to show some pictures of that food again in just a little bit. And, of course, there is the participant hello. So Terry Briscoe saying hello to Jim Frank. And Michael Blaha, hi there, Dave, and everybody. So one of the things I like best about the voiceover community is we like each other and we help each other, and that's something that should never change. Now, I've told you, whoops, that's not what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. You probably saw that I posted some pictures from being at Urban Nerd Con. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And just generally, one of the things I like about cons, of course, you like to make a little money when people are signing for pictures, autographs, and videos and sound, and you're doing the voices of characters you've played for their phones or their friends or whatever. That's a gas, but one of the things I like best are meeting all the other people who are also guests. Now, more often than not, I'm going to a con and it's a bunch of my voiceover buddies that for some reason we don't run into each other in LA, but we get to see each other out of town. Well, on this particular con, I got to meet a lot of people that I had not met before, and some of whom I think are going to become friends of mine. Oh, I should already say they already are. Just give you an idea what it looked like. Oh, yeah. Nice spot. Lots of creative people doing wonderful things. Got to meet this young lady. Adele Simmons. Now, you probably don't know her name because she's a person that's behind the scenes, but she was first AD on a bunch of TV shows. And for those who don't know, assistant director, that's the person who is actually running the set. She worked on MacGyver, Knight Rider, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Cheers. And of course, she was there based on her work in Star Trek Next Generation, and Voyager. Spent years doing that, and she's just a delightful lady. And it was a pleasure to meet her and find out she lives around the corner from where I used to live in Altadena. And for those of you who love that film, The Last Dragon, Tamak, he was there and signing autographs and meeting fans, and looking almost as young as he did in that movie 30 years ago, damn him. But we had a good time hanging out. And then there was Peter Williams. Now, I don't know if you know Peter Williams, and one of the reasons I'm talking about these people is because these kinds of actors are the backbone of the entertainment industry. They're not making $20 million per film, but you see them. And Peter, he's Jamaican born, he's Canadian, however, and he was the villain Apophis in Stargate SG-1, for all you Stargate fans. He's also been in Catwoman, Chronicles of Riddick, and quite a few other films, and just a delightful guy. Really enjoyed hanging out with him. And for you Underworld fans, Kevin Grievous, who also is a writer. And I thought it was interesting that Kevin went into entertainment despite the fact that he graduated from one of my alma maters, Howard University, with a degree in microbiology. Guess he was looking for bigger things. Microbiology, small, you get it. He played Reyes in the Underworld franchise. Also, he's a filmmaker in his own right, and has done quite a bit of writing for Marvel and DC on comic books and films. And thank you, Kevin. And then there's Anthony Montgomery, Emmy-nominated actor, Ensign Travis Mayweather, Star Trek Enterprise. He's also now on BET, doing The Family Business, and we flew together from LA to Montgomery. He got on the plane, and we had a real early morning flight. He got on the plane and sat next to me. And I'd seen him in the airport, and I bet he's going where I'm going. Sat down next to me and just looked haggard and tired, as was I. But I said, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I said, where are you going? You going to Montgomery? He said, "Yeah, we're going to Montgomery." We had to stop in Atlanta first, or we were going to Dallas, Atlanta, and then drive to Montgomery. And first thing he said to me was, "Look, man," because I'd ask him, well, what kinds of things have you been doing that I might recognize? "Look, man, I am so tired right now. This is not the time. We can do this later." And I thought, well, damn. That wasn't very nice, but after we both had naps and woke up, he was just delightful, and we had a great time. Really good guy, just a really stand-up guy. Okay, another Star Trek guy, Sirach Lofton. Now, Sirach was the youngest cast member ever in the Star Trek series. He was 14 years old when he became a regular Star Trek Deep Space Nine, playing the character Jake Sisko, and another very cool brother. All right, let's see. And now this guy you don't know, but he was there. This young man is a writer, and his name is Brian D. Covington, and he was a fan of mine, and he came over to my table and said hello and so forth, and I'm such a fan. And somebody else had bought one of his books and said, "Wow, he's a pretty good writer." So I walked over to his booth, and we had a nice long conversation. And as you can see, I bought one of his books. It's called Between Magic and Dreams, Brian D. Covington. And, he was such a delightful guy, but I started reading the book, and within the first paragraph, I could tell this guy's a really good writer, and I'm about 40 pages in, and I'm hooked. And I'm just going to suggest that you jot this guy's name down. 10 years from now, he may be a household name writer of science fiction. Just you're gonna love it, and you're gonna want to be one of those people who say, "Yeah, I knew him when." So anyway, oh yeah, I gotta show you meals. Yeah, there we are, having dinner. This was a place called Martin's Cafe that's been around since 1929. I have a feeling that up until the 60s at some point, some of us wouldn't have been able to eat in this cafe. But the food was delicious. And I'm going to show you my plate. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. There, where is it? Yes, there it is. And you see, they serve certain things on certain days. And I had the black-eyed peas. I ordered the catfish fillet meal with coleslaw, and I wanted collard greens with it, but they were out of collard greens, so I had to have green beans because they don't serve collard greens on, I think that was Friday that we did this. But they're also famous for their fried chicken. So I had a little fried chicken on the side, so I had a couple of breasts. I actually only ordered one, but since they were small, they gave me two. But good time had by all. Just wonderful, 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 wonderful. Glad I went. And I bring all that up because, when you get into a career like voiceover, I know for myself, all I wanted was a career. I just wanted to work. I wanted to, enjoy doing what I do, get some cartoons going. Video games weren't a thing then. TV promos was what I was most concentrating on. Commercials and narration. I've had the great opportunity to do some of it all. But I wasn't expecting, one, to be going to conventions, meeting people, have people want my autograph and meet me, and sometimes you're, holding somebody as you're taking the picture, and you can feel them shaking because they just appreciate the work that you've done. I always try to tell them, hey, look, you should stop shaking. I'm just a normal person, honest. But there are many gifts that this business has given me, and I certainly hope that this business will give you. All right, and let's see. I'm just going to pop on here, see some questions. Shantae McCormick. Okay. Oh! Thank you, Shantae. And that's if you'd like to purchase the book Between Magic and Dreams. There it is, and I think you're going to like it. Terry Briss, I see hot sauce on that fish. You're doggone right. I'm not one of those people that says I'll eat anything, put a little hot sauce on it, but I do like my hot sauce on my catfish. I like it on my fried chicken sometimes, and sometimes on my greens. Luc de Villar, bonjour mon frère, ça va? Salutations, dear Dave. I've had one of your students on a job, dear Madison voice actress. Madison Mitz. And she had performed that well on this job. I've decided to give her more responsibilities for next jobs and how to handle a full casting. That's the kind of results you get when learning with Monsieur Fennoy. My hat off to you. Why, thank you, Luke. I appreciate that. Oh, there's a spider coming down from the ceiling. I appreciate that, Luke. It's interesting. I was just thinking about you the other day. I saw one of your posts on Facebook, and hey, there's Luke. All right. Landscape by George Call. I went to the Deep South a few times due to marital obligations. Why can't you get tea that's not sweet? Oh, boy, the sweet tea thing. By the way, before we keep going with this, we actually can have some questions about voiceover. That's actually why I'm here. I'm just sharing this information. But nowadays, if you ask for tea, they'll ask you if you want it sweet or unsweetened. And in the hotel, We were staying at the Renaissance in Montgomery, which is the best hotel in Montgomery. Um, and I was hanging out with Anthony Montgomery, and we went to have some dinner. And oh yeah, well, let's try some sweet tea. I'm in the South, and we both took a sip and went, "Whoa, this is diabetes in a glass. Can you bring some water? We need to, dilute this a little bit." Now, other places we had sweet tea. It wasn't quite that sweet. Maybe they had made a mistake. I don't know. Let's see. LC, what's going on, girl? How you doing? And let's see. Tina Smith, she just ordered the book on Amazon. And never forget to ask for red Zinfandel if you want sweet pink wine. Okay. Not much on the sweet wines, but that's okay. I usually go red. Zinfandel's not quite red enough for me. Okay, let's talk some voiceover. What's going on with you? What are you doing different today than you used to do? There was a period in my life where I was trying to make my career happen, and then it did. And then there were some dips in the career, and I had to remake my career happen. And I remember both times coming up with an idea that when I woke up in the morning, what am I going to do today to further my career? And at night before going to bed, the same question: what are the things I'm going to have to do tomorrow to further my career? And I found it gave me great focus, which I'm not sure that I always have. A lot of us make plans to do things. Oh, I'm going to work out every day. You tell yourself that. You've convinced yourself you're going to do it. And then the day comes and, oh, I'm a little tired today. I don't think I will. You're going to walk the Rose Bowl or jog or do something. And, oh, I'm not quite feeling it. Well, you can be forgiven for not accomplishing everything that you're trying to accomplish. But there's some things that you're just going to have to buckle down and handle. And if voiceover is one of those things, you're going to have to do that. I remember I was leaving radio when I first came to LA. I was doing really well right off the bat, and then in the end of 1990 there was a recession, and I had to go back on the radio for a little bit. I worked at KACE. I was filling in for people. Then the program director went over to a jazz station and brought me along as the morning guy, Jazz FM, which no longer exists. It was an interesting idea, too. They had a station in Orange County and a station in up north here, but on the coast. And they slaved them together. Maybe I should use a different word. They linked them together, and they were broadcasting the same thing. It was just called Jazz FM. And there were a couple of jocks there that knew I was doing voiceover work, and I got back into the swing of the voiceover thing pretty quickly from a little dip. And they all wanted to get into voiceover. How can I get into voiceover? And one young lady in particular, who was the midday person, and she would say things to me like, "Oh, come on, it's getting close to Christmas now. It's September. Help me get some a demo together so I can get into that Christmas business. September's way too late." And the idea of, oh, I'm just going to jump in and jump out and jump in and jump out, it doesn't work like that. It can be a part-time thing, maybe if you are a known actor, if you are doing a number of different things, but you still put the time and effort in to learn how to act and learn how to do voiceover. But this, although it seems, hey, you're just talking, just take these words and read them off the page. For those of you who've been at this for a while, you know it's so much more than that. I tell my students, look, what I'm teaching you to do is translate the written word into the spoken word. They are not the same thing. All right. Thoughts, questions as I ramble on here? Let's see. Grace Newton, what are some things you've implemented into your routine involving vocal care? Well, as I get older here, I have to take better care of my voice. And, just like a younger person has more stamina and can run and jump and do all those things longer, I found I don't have the same stamina I had, say, 10, 15 years ago. So, one, I have to be careful about what I do with my voice. And I'm going to say it's stronger than it sounds like I'm saying, because I do a lot of video games. There's a lot of shouting. There's a lot of odd character voices. And perhaps that's some of the strain on my voice. One of the things I do is learn to shut up. When I'm not working, I'm not that person just on the phone. I'm not that person shouting at the TV. I'm pretty quiet unless I have to talk, which sometimes drives my wife crazy. Why aren't you talking to me? Excuse your voice again. But another thing, hydrate. Water, 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 water. As a matter of fact, excuse me while I hydrate a little bit. Also, breathing exercises. Now, a lot of people will talk about breathing in and out with one of these. That is less for vocal health than to keep your cords aligned. Be careful of drinking things that are too hot. If it goes down too far, you can burn the inside of your cords. But try not to shout. If you have to shout, really shout. Don't try to truncate the shouting. Stay hydrated. And when your voice is damaged, be quiet. Those are some of the things I do. Another thing that'll realign your voice sometimes when you've done a lot is just to kind of yawn. And that kind of opens up your voice again. But special care, the people who show up at the voice doctor the most traditionally have been school teachers and singers. But we are added to the list. I'm going to speak specifically about video games for just a second, because I don't think anything in voiceover can be as damaging as video games. I know I've done a lot of them. Early in my career, I did a Lucasfilm game. It was a pod racer game. I was playing Troy Dampner and a few other characters, and the whole thing was shouted. And this is before we were thinking about care for voices. It was a 5-hour session, all in Huttese. And the first time around, the first character shouted in Huttese for 2 hours. And then the next character shouted in Huttese, but with a Jamaican accent for 2 hours. And the third character shouted in Huttese again, but this time with a homeboy accent. I went home, and by bedtime, I couldn't talk. Didn't have a voice. Well, 2 days later, I was supposed to do a booth announce for an ESPN award show. Well, couldn't do it. Had to cancel. That producer has never hired me again. So take care of your voice. And if you're in a session and it's strenuous and nobody says, hey, look, let's take a break, give you some rest, take a break. Get some rest. Usually they'll give you a break about every hour or so. But nowadays, directors who care, and thankfully there are many, They'll give you 15, 20 minutes and, hey, you okay? You want to take a break? Well, let's just take a break. And sometimes they'll say, let's take a break because, we want to be heroes. No, I can get through it. No, send me in, coach. I can do it. No, take the break. Don't sacrifice your voice. All right, Terry Briscoe. Okay, how about a VO question? Promo versus video games. Which one requires more energy and acting? I'm going to say video games just because of the variety of kinds of characters that you can play and how much longer the sessions are. Promo, yeah, your voice has to be in shape. You have to be able to have the power, if in fact that's what you're doing. Sometimes it's not a powerful read. But video games is going to be much harder on your voice than promo. Depending on what the promos are, you may be using a lot of energy, but it's not going to be nearly as rough on you as video games. You're not going to have a 4-hour promo session. You go in to do some promos, even if you're a network guy, you're going in maybe for a couple of hours and doing some stuff. Video games, you can go in for 4 hours and have a script that says battle chatter for a couple of hours. And when you see that script that says battle chatter, be afraid. Be very afraid. Okay, hope I answered that for you. Landscapes by George Call. Oh my God, this is so much my early days, which is so much your early days. Anyway, with those, sometimes you have to kind of refer back to what was being talked about. Otherwise, it's a comment that I don't know what you're talking about there. It's your early days. Okay, Natalie McGyver. What kind of acting classes do you recommend VO actors should take? Well, any acting classes are good, but I suggest if you want to do VO, you should take VO classes. My voice acting for video game classes and private lessons are acting classes. And what I do is try to help you replace those things we're missing when we have words on a page or a screen and a microphone in front of us, and that's it. Because what we typically miss is asking ourselves why we're doing this, what we're thinking about it, who we're talking to, what action is going on, how we feel, what our attitude is. As my friend Mark Estelle would say, this is the exhaust of the acting engine. Typically, I think we're spending way too much time on the words and not enough time on what's behind the words. We get in our way sometimes because we're trying to make the words special. What kind of acting classes do you recommend VO actors should take? Now, there was nothing real about that. And there's a little difference in our performance from just speaking, but not that much. If you're talking about promo, yeah, you can kind of develop a style that kind of works, and you don't have to be necessarily a great actor. Commercials, I would say you have to find your signature voice or a few signature voices. If I'm being the comedic me, I'm this. If I'm being the serious me, I'm that. You have to be able to pull a few different pieces of yourself for this feel and that feel and this feel, but it really should be yourself. Animation, well, wide open. You can do just all kinds of voices, but you still have to act. You still have to know what you're responding to, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And you still have to, I call it, take the words off the page. We don't want to be reading the individual words and worrying about, oh, what's this word going to be? What's this word going to be? What's this word going to be? You need to do two things. One, become a better sight reader. And two, read the copy first. Prepare. Most of the time, your best chance to do that is in the audition. When you're at home by yourself and you can really learn what that copy is. You get to go through it and understand and ask yourself those questions. Well, what is this character really thinking? What's happening while I'm saying this? And get away from the idea of, oh, I know that's an important word, so let me hit that word in a way that I know it's an important word. Just be honest with it. Just say it. But from your thought, your feeling, your reaction, who you're talking to. Hope I answered that. Molly, rock. Hi, Dave. Hope you're well. We all have people for characteristic quirks that may rub us the wrong way. Do you have any stories you'd like to share with us where you've used those same quirks in the development of your characters? Well, it's interesting. I don't know that I would say they're quirks that I got from any particular person, but I've had the wonderful opportunity to play a lot of bad guys in video games and cartoons. And I think actually sometimes playing the bad guys is the most fun thing because you're getting to do something that hopefully you would not do. You're being somebody, hopefully, that you are not, and enjoy it. And part of that is, flipping whatever, I feel like I'm a pretty good guy, is flipping the coin to the other side and letting those not so good things come out. That person that enjoys delivering pain and taking things from people. Oh, I'm sorry. I was beginning to feel that just a little bit. I'm also going to say one of the things I tell my students, and one of the things I do, is I study people. Not so much the celebrities and what they sound like, or the politicians and what they sound like, although I do that too. But for me, it's not a sound-alike thing. For me, it's, well, what do I think motivates this person? What does this person really want? What are they trying to do? What are they like when they're lying? What are they like when they're doing their evil? Not so much the rhythm of what they're saying, but trying to figure out how do they think? What are the thoughts that are going through their head? That works better for me than imitating their voices. All right, Linda Baker. What is that breathing device called? I don't know. I don't remember what this thing is called. Oh, wait a minute. The voice straw. And it just has a little rubber attachment there that the straw goes through. And the straw comes in various sizes, sometimes a little thinner, a little thicker. And you actually don't need the rubber thing. One of the best things is about a surgical tubing, about a foot long or so. That works really well. Really straws and indigestion. I got a dog with indigestion that has. Yeah. Anyway, LC. How do video game clients differ, especially when it comes to the hours time in studio? I've heard they aren't as respectful of our vocal health. There was a time that was the case. I don't think it was about not respecting so much as not knowing. Most of the directors at that time weren't voiceover actors, so they weren't doing what it was they were asking you to do. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just say, well, they were trying to get the performances they needed without understanding what they were asking us for. I think that started to change when we as voice actors started to say en masse, hey, give us a break, doggone it. Because we had seen too many people damage their voices sometimes beyond repair. I haven't been in that session, but I have known of people who were trying to power through to show how good they could do it so they'd be asked back the next time, and came out of that session with their vocal cord, with their mouth bleeding from their vocal cords. You don't want to do that. We don't want to be that kind of hero. I played football in junior high school, and college. And I was that, hey, coach, put me in, coach. Yeah, I know it hurts, but put me in. Wasn't wise. And it's not wise for those of us who are doing video games to push ourselves beyond reasonable limits. You're doing enough, and your voice gets a little tired. Rest. It will heal itself very quickly if you give it time. 5-10 minutes, and things will start to reset. Water, tea, lemon, honey. As a matter of fact, you don't need the tea. Hot water, lemon, and honey does wonders in between sets when you're doing video games and other things as well. But take that time. Take that 5 or 10 minute break. All right. I'm in quiet mode now. Hurt my cords after choking the other night. Choking? What were you choking on? Choked so much and so hard that I am at half voice 2 days later. At least the pain is gone now. What did you choke on? Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that heals quickly. Maya Aoki Tuttle. Hi, Dave. At what point does a voice actor need a manager, assuming one already has an agent? What's the difference between an agent and a manager? Well, you may actually never need a manager. There are a lot of people who don't. As a matter of fact, I think probably most voice actors do not have a manager. A manager operates a little differently than an agent. Agents are called agents because there's a specific, well, especially if they're union agents, there's specific guidelines they have to abide by. Agents charge 10%. Managers can charge 20%. Managers often take money not only from the jobs they get you, but from all your jobs. But they usually have a smaller house of talent, pool of talent that they're working with, where an agent might be working with 300 or 400 people, or an agency, probably not each individual agent, where a management will have much fewer. I know my manager at one time kept herself to 12. I think she has more now. I haven't counted. But still, you will get a little more personal attention from your manager. Your manager can spend more time on your behalf getting in touch with clients and selling you, because if an agent has 300 or 400 clients and they're fielding calls for auditions and bookings, they don't have as much time to, push you individually. So perhaps a manager can be a good thing for you. Theo Mezzacapo. Hey, Dave, sorry I'm late. I had trouble signing into Facebook. Oh, if we forget our passcodes. Oh. But welcome. Michael Blaha, is the stream frozen for anyone else or just me? Oh, I hope it's just you, Michael. Gotta refresh. I truly hope it's just you. Oh, and I guess it's okay. There we are. All right, Molly Rock, and glad to hear you'll be a coach judge for Get Mic'd Uvo's Take 3. I don't remember agreeing to do it again, but I guess I did somewhere along the line. I gotta pay more attention to what I've been doing. By the way, I just remember this. I've been invited to be the keynote speaker at a VO convention in Cancun. Uh, that's probably the right place for me to be the keynote speaker, coming up in February next year. And that is quite an honor. And I want to say thank you to the folks who put that together. And I will start working on my speech tonight. Terry Briscoe, it's hard to do script analysis when you're doing auditions on P2Ps. I feel like I've got to get it done quickly so that it gets heard or gets heard. Ooh, there's a dirty joke in there someplace, but far be it from me to expound on that. You know, you bring up a great point. One of the things you have to learn to do is script analysis faster. And what you learn in this business, as with anything else, if you're playing an instrument, you play those scales and arpeggios slowly, and you speed them up as you go. You play those songs you're learning slowly, and then you speed them up as you know them. If you're an athlete, say you're learning to play golf, you're going to swing that club slowly. You're going to watch your form, or lifting weights, or playing tennis. You want to get that muscle memory right. And with script analysis, so many of us have never really done it. And what you have to do is, who am I? Who am I talking to? What is actually being said? What devices is the writer using? If there's dialogue, what's the alternate dialogue? If there's a storyboard that goes with it, what's going on there? Being able to find out what part of this whole story I am, and not just, jump in and let me read these words. I promise you, it's not going to take you that much longer. As a matter of fact, it might help you do it faster. The more you do it, the faster you're going to do it, and the more often you're going to make choices that are correct. So, if it's a difference between 5 minutes and 10 minutes, take those 10 minutes instead of the 5. I know on the P2Ps, it's one of the things I don't like about them. But that 5 minutes probably won't make a difference, especially if you're booking more, getting that call back more often, than just being one of the people that just puts it up and reads it and gives it a song. It's hard to do script analysis when you're doing auditions on P2Ps. I feel I've got to get it done quickly, so that gets... If you're just picking it up and reading it like that, as opposed to really finding out who you are. And that's what we do when we don't know what we're saying. When you pick that script up and you just go, the only way you can make it sound good is to give it some kind of song that has really nothing to do with what you're thinking or feeling or reacting to. You may not find your way through it and understand what you're saying until halfway through. And so often there's a compound sentence. You start it this way, but it ends that way. And now, that's all wrong. Let me go back. Just find out what you're saying to begin with. Take your time. Read it through nice and slow in your head. You don't even have to read it out loud. I suggest the 3 and 3. Read it 3 times in your head, mouth it 3 times. That way, by the time you give a performance, the words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. So take your time. Take your time, and it's kind of one of those hare rabbit stories, something like that. All right, LC, what demos are best for MC Award Show event announcing? MC Award Show event demos. Here in ATL, I'm getting, how'd I make that small? I'm getting, let me move it up here a little bit. I'm getting more interest from event and award show producers as well as animation. Well, don't put the animation and the event together, but get yourself, make yourself an event award show demo. Simple. That's what I would do. And also an animation demo as well. All right, LC. Uh, Theo Mezzacapo, one of the things I've learned from you, Dave, is that it's about feeling it. Just being the character. Don't think about performance when you're recording. That's true. One of the things I say often now, because I'm always trying to find a new way, a different way to explain what I'm explaining. Sometimes people understand the language, sometimes they don't. An early one was, take the words off the page. Uh, One that I've used for a while is, look, we're translating the written word into the spoken word. Uh, One of the things I tell people now is be the character first. Stop worrying about, oh, I have to read these words perfectly. Be the character first. Who is this person that is talking? What's their worldview? What are they thinking about? And this goes beyond just video games and animation, especially in commercials now. Who are you? Let that person say this, not you reading it like this, pretending to be that person, but, let whoever that person is, and so many times with the commercials, it actually can be you, because we are multifaceted. But it's not about reading the words. It's about saying them. All right. Ellery King, I steal from every human I meet. Oh, you got to be careful how you say that, Ellery, because if you just leave it right there, the bus, subway, looking in the window as I drive, I'm a terrible person. Somebody who reads that wrong would think that you are. But I think we all, as actors, this is part of our job. Part of our job is to observe the human condition and imitate. As I was mentioning before, one of the things I tell my students, one of the things I do, not only watch people out and about in the street, but since we spent so much time indoors during COVID, sometimes your people watching was actors in particular TV shows. And when you watch a really good actor, what are you watching? You're watching a performance that you have forgotten that this is Joe Blow playing Susie Q. Boy, that was a terrible... Anyway, you've forgotten that it's this actor. Well, maybe not sometimes. We have our favorite actors. But you have to believe that performance. You have to believe that this is this character in this movie doing these things, saying these things, and you believe them. That willing suspension of disbelief is not interrupted. All too often, the poor acting, when you watch something with really poor acting, you might not quite know what it is, but I'll tell you what it is. You don't believe the character. Sometimes it's terrible dialogue. That happens too. Every one of our favorite actors has been in a few dogs. But you got to be the character first. You have to see how characters handle dialogue. Does it sound like they are reading something? No. There's somebody who feels a certain way, is saying a certain thing to somebody they have a particular relationship with while they're doing a particular thing. When we're just standing in front of the microphone, we have to move a little bit. We have to think about what that person we're talking to is, how they're responding. Every voiceover is a conversation, even if nobody says anything to you. Think of the number of times you've had a conversation with somebody. They didn't respond vocally, but there was a look on their face. There was body language. There was a sigh. We respond to those things. Create that for yourself. Create that for yourself. All right. LOL, looks like a plunger. I have no idea, Michael Blaha, what you mean there, but wait. I know. This is what looks like a plunger. I got it now. Yeah, I'm not as senile as I thought it was. Yeah, and I knew what you meant. When I say steal, I mean steal their movements, accents, quirks, etc. I didn't mean steal their, I I knew that we were in on the same joke. I'm not that senile, dang it. Ellery again, since I got you. Muscles, including vocal cords, regenerate like any other muscle, but you must give it time to heal like any other muscle. True, 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 true. And for those of us who have ever lifted weights and worked out, you understand you need enough water, you need enough fuel, as in food. You need to work to tire those muscles, to get the little rips and tears to make them grow, but you gotta let them rest. A good night's sleep is essential. Not lifting and running and moving is essential. You've got to give it rest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Frank. This tea works instant wonders. The owners are incredible people. I might have to look at that. What is that? I'll just click on it later and see what it is. But thank you, Jim Frank. Once again, one of the things I love about the voiceover community is that willingness, that desire to help your fellow voice artists, not thinking of each other as competition for each other, but as fellow travelers down the voiceover trail. All right. Are you managed by Cope? Why, yes, I am. And, bonjour, Luc de Villard. One strange colleague gave me this voice acting riddle. In the beginning were the words, and the words made the world. I am the words. The words are everything. Where the words end, the world ends. You cannot go forward in the absence of space. I'm not sure what he meant about the absence of space. Something to do with words without space are meaningless, not sure. I think your friend was high. I think he was smoking. Well, let's see, you're in France, so it might not have been weed. Might have had some good hash or something, or and I've heard comments like that, that it's about the words. The words, what are being said? What do the words mean? I get what they're trying to say, but all too often, once again, I think we're paying too much attention to the words and not what's behind the words. It's our thoughts, it's our feelings, it's our love, our fear, our happiness, our despair, our question, our wonder. That's what's important. Hey there, Charity James. How you doing? And let's see. Maya Aoki Tuttle again. Hey, Dave, do you have any networking tips? Everything is so remote these days that even if I work on the same project as other voice actors, writers, creatives, I never actually meet them. Wow, that is a great question, because we're living in a different world than we used to live in. And even different now than 2 years ago before the pandemic. I can't tell you how often I used to go to lunch with voiceover buddies of mine, how often you would see people either at your agent's office or at a studio you were working at, or you were doing a cartoon together and you were all there. Those days are gone for a couple of reasons. One, the pandemic. We spent a couple of years avoiding one another. And even though we're trying our very best to get back out there, we all have home studios now. So you're going to have to figure out other ways to network other than going to a big meeting place and doing something. I'm not saying those things are gone. We are back with VO Atlanta, and that's voiceover and other conventions. We are back doing some of those things, but on the daily basis, not so much. Zoom has taken over the world. We're going to have to do that. Facebook has taken over the world. TikTok and all those things. Now, for actual communicating with one another, I think Facebook can be good. Join the voiceover groups. The Gardner Collective is one of my favorite, and there's some others out there that are also very good. And engage there. Um, be as much a resource as you are trying to get resources. Um, Everybody, no matter how long you've been in this, has something to offer. If you began 6 months ago, there's somebody that's just beginning that you have more knowledge than, that maybe you can help. So at the same time that you're reaching up, reach back and share. You're going to have to put in a different kind of effort than you used to have to put in because the world has changed. And, one of the things that happens to some people who do not roll with the punches, or, as I like to say, run as fast as they can to keep from falling too far behind, is that the world's going to pass you by. I remember people, I don't want to get a cell phone. I'm not going to use a beeper. I'm not going to get a home studio. I'm not going to do all these things that the industry was asking of you. That the world has started asking you. I'm not going to participate in social media. I'm not going to participate. Well, the world en masse doesn't care. Do or don't do. But there are consequences. So participate. Get involved. All right. Let's see. Oh, we're getting close to the end here. Grace Newton. I'll be attending One Voice Dallas this weekend, and it's my first big conference. Any advice or tips? Yes. Walk up to people and say hello. If there's somebody that you admire, and there are going to be a lot of great people there. I will not be there myself, but there are a lot of great people there that you should meet. Don't be shy. They are there to meet you. Go up to them, say hi. If you've got a question, ask. Well, that's why they're there. And not only the people that are in a position beyond where you are in this business, but your fellow voice actors. Get to know some people. Find some folks that you can relate to, be friends with. This is, in so many ways, a very singular business because your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. Oh, don't let them all meet. They don't know how to help you unless they are in this. They don't understand it unless they are in this. You need people that understand what you're doing and going through, that you can talk to, that can say something intelligent that makes sense to help you get over what you're over or move you forward in some way. So talk to people. Somebody just gave a great talk. Talk to them. I'm going to say this too. Have your business cards, but the people you really want to get to know, meet, learn from, take their business cards. I can't tell you how many times I'm at a conference and a bunch of people give me their business cards. Oh, here's my card. Here's my card. And that's great. But I'll come home with, a stack of cards, and you just don't remember who everybody is or why you would want to call them or what they need. Or what. Take the people that you want to talk to, get their card so that you can get in touch. And let them know, hey, I'm going to get in touch with you. When's a good time? And they may, I don't know, next week sometime. Get in touch. And if they don't get back to you right away, don't feel like, well, I bothered them and they're not going to get back to me. People are busy. I know how busy I am. A lot of times I miss emails until the second or third one. I'll miss calls if I don't know the number. And then I'll go back and, oh, wow, that was so-and-so. And if you miss them on a phone call or an email, text them. As a matter of fact, a lot of times text is the best way to get in touch with me because I don't have to answer a phone. And if I don't know the phone number, I'm not answering the phone. But you can text, hi, I'm so-and-so. You met me, at One Voice Dallas. I was wondering about blah, blah, blah. Be persistent. That is what I would say. All right, let's see. Maya. Again, question. I follow a pretty successful voice actor and noticed that he switched agencies recently. Both are good agencies from what I know. He seemed to be booking a lot already, so it got me curious. What are the reasons someone would switch agencies? I know a couple guys that switch agencies every 2 years just because. Bo Weaver is famous for that. I have switched agencies. I'm on my third agent in 32 years. I don't switch agents as much, but when I did, it was because I felt like it was time to move on to something else. Um, the first time things had kind of dipped, and let me try something else here. I'm not getting as many auditions. The work that I had through them isn't there as much as it was. I went to a different agency for 5 years, and I decided that there wasn't enough opportunity there. It was a great agency, but sometimes agencies focus on different aspects of this business. And when I left that second agency and went to my current agent, in terms of animation and video games, I booked more in the first year of those two areas than I had auditioned for in the years before. And I know wow, but everybody knows you for video games. Well, video games were still kind of up and coming and weren't a real big thing. And most of my income at that time came from TV promos. And I still do a lot of TV promos. Not under contract right now to anybody, but hey, CBS, NBC, ABC, I'm here. I'm here, baby. Uh, so people changed for a lot of reasons. Sometimes they just feel like it's time to go, or they're not getting the love, or perhaps an agent from their particular agency that they were with went to a different agency, and they followed them. That happens a lot. And sometimes you just want, if you don't feel like maybe you're being heard, because people will pigeonhole you. Oh yeah, he's good for that. She's good for that, and maybe your communication of, hey, I'd like to get auditions in this area, or can you help me figure out what might be the best person to do this demo with me, blah 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 blah. Maybe you're not getting the answers you want, or the responses often enough. Maybe you're just not feeling like they're caring about you, or they're taking you for granted. Oh, because they're making money off of you. An agent wants you around. They may like you and love you, but they want you around because they're going to get their 10%. If you haven't booked something in a year, don't be surprised that, well, it just didn't work out. Good luck. Bye. But also, if you're booking a lot, you might have some leverage for some things. Maybe that agent, you said, well, look, I want scale and a half or double scale. And we don't feel that, I know you're booking a lot, so let's not mess something up. So maybe you go, hey, I'm going over to this agency because they will do that. I feel like they will. But hopefully they've taken some good meetings and they have a good reason. I was just dropping a few that might be out there for why, even though you're working a lot, you might want to change agencies. All right, couple more questions. We're after 7, but I'm going to make this quick. Ellery King, yes, be the character first. The rest will come once you know who that person is. He, she is for me anyway, is right in front of you. There you go. Nice comment there, Ellery. Jim Frank, all right, over here talking with people again. Trey, what's up, Mosley? How are those pooches? The pooches are great. Maybe you saw them running back and forth in here. They're sitting just outside the studio in the backyard. Gracie Newton. Oh, just got a little smile there. Thank you. Dave is so wise. Every word is gold. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with that because I can't imagine a comment that will get any better than that. Anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. It is my great pleasure to do this every week, or almost every week. Not sure who my guest will be next week, but I'm looking for a guest. I typically do not book way in advance. I don't know if it's just because I'm lazy or like doing things at the last minute. But I always find I for some reason, I enjoy working that way. So I don't know who the guest will be, but we'll have somebody with some great information and experience next week. And a reminder, if you want to see this and any of the others, visit my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training, and please subscribe. And for lessons, davefennoy.com, click the Study VO tab at the top, and you can book yourself. In the meantime and in between time, book something.